Now, I want anybody to find me ever saying the words, "it's completely hopeless," in any of the material that I've ever done. Never from day one have I ever put forward that sentiment, and I still, to this day, don't think like that. It can be changed. Our situation can be changed. Our condition can be changed. The question I always ask is, will humanity will it to change? Because it doesn't just change on its own. The factors that have driven this condition of slavery that we are trapped in, they're not just going to go away. They have to be addressed. They have to be looked at deeply. They have to be confronted. We're not going to be able to ignore the causal factors and somehow create the change that we want to see. Reality doesn't work like that. Natural law doesn't work like that. So, in this section, what I'm really trying to do for people is to leave them with some hope regarding that this situation is changeable. And hope isn't even the right word to use in this instance. It's really to help to instill some knowledge in others that the situation is in fact changeable if enough care, attention, and willpower is put into the dynamic of actually changing it through our behaviors. So the first thing we have to understand is I'm not telling anybody my take on the human origins story to make them depressed, to make them disempowered, or to make them give up and think that it's hopeless. That's number one. I'm trying to explain these factors because only in knowledge and knowing the truth about what happened to us as a species are we ever going to be able to identify and confront those causal factors head on, and then work to change them, to work with that shadow material, and not ignore it, and not try to run away from it. To actually transmute that energy and understand how this condition came about. Because only when you understand how a problem actually came about, are you in an empowered position to do something about it, to change it for the better. So that's the whole intent of this entire Cosmic Abandonment series. All right? It's to instill that knowledge and then say, here's what was done. You have to deal with it. You can't run away from it. You can't pretend that it didn't go on. It explains just about everything that's happening in the world if you are being honest with yourself and you really look at it objectively. Some people will deny that. Some people won't want to look at any of the evidence because of the horrific implications, which I agree are pretty horrific. It's like we were talking about, just as a brief aside, we were talking about allegorical movies, and one of them that I brought up was The Time Machine. And there's a scene in The Time Machine when the quote hero is trying to get information from like a quantum computer or some type of a photonic computer, and the image of the person representing the computer asks him, well, he's talking about the rest of the people not wanting to know the truth, and therefore they kind of deserve their situation because they're so ignorant. And he was saying, well, isn't that kind of harsh? And he says, well, I want to know the truth. I want to know what happened. And he said, the computer answers him and, kind of says, well, you still want to know the truth even if it is so horrific that it will haunt your dreams for all eternity. That's the question. I mean, this situation is not good. It's bad. We were served a raw deal. We were served a bad hand of cards. But, that's as the ball bounces, as the saying goes, that's, the deal that we got in life. Now, the question is, are we going to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, keep getting up, regardless of how bad we've been beaten down, and do something about it?